Hello. WOYIEDIE ASETENA. Jemeso our paso kaho. Me gidi say ene wani age say wahia WOYIEDIE ASETENA. Say de da ne da kwesi ada bia ye ba no. Ene so e de adom ye. Eno nti no ye de enchia kese e ma obia. Bebia wo bia ye de say WOYIEDIE ASETENA. Ye ne wo abehia. Na bomode an say obeka kira adofo say ene no titi ye wo YouTube any Facebook. Ene ye wo YouTube any Facebook eno nti no se why krado a na wo de nkra na ma odofo bi WOYIEDIE ASETENA TV ana obetimi so asa share wo YouTube House of EZRA Worldwide Ministries YouTube page ye wo ho na Facebook so WOYIEDIE ASETENA ye wo ho na ene nkomo no ebekọ kama pa so de wonim se da no de de brewo no enya de a eye de wanga sampo ebe hawo de ebe boa wo de be ma WOYIEDIE SCP esita na da no ye de ebrewo na said ye kano ye papa John Wesley Stephen Kofi Amponsa the House of EZRA Worldwide Ministries ano na da oso ya asene e ma ye ba eni papa bia wo bia na ye de nchia kese e ma wo eni mama engineer busua no enyina sara nso na edurora boutique edurora fashion trends ono so eso ya asene edurora e wo la posada enhwe ani mo e wo pankro no wo hwe edurora ukọ ho ahunsa beka no sara nso na tafoma force so edurora e wo ho na so person offer edurora obetimi anya no number iso 0207589887 0207589887 bomodi answer obekọ ho benya suit e ma ne mema de wallpapers kama na me ka say wo wallpaper kama wo dem ma wo da wo so da yepa e me na no so eye wo de eno nti bomodi answer wo ne ebedi ahyiam na wasan akọ edurora ho na wanya niema uhia mesrɛ opi sɛ ene no ye de WhatsApp no ebe ye adwuma pa nti bomodi anfa to ho ye do to screens no so se be ya ho so bitumi afa 0202633479 0202633479 and obesum ibetumi so afa 0559 592751 0559 592751 eno so ye WhatsApp line obetumi e de o messages afa so aba eno nti enko ba bia ye twa ye ho sima na ye ba be kyerɛw eniema na adepoten a ene ye beka ho asem na ye de abedwafo so akyerɛw na ene me hye wo bose ubedi yi isan say information na say nsama obeti every side dwumadie mu no ebeboa wo ama akonkan ebeboa ma busia na sipi esita WOYIEDIE ASETENA jemeso aware paka ho jemeso emofra ne ka ho enko ba bia ye twa ye ho abasima odofo emo akwa babi WOYIEDIE ASETENA jemeso aware paskan ka ho WOYIEDIE ASETENA emofra no eyedie eka ho WOYIEDIE ASETENA ya brabo pa eka ho bebre me gidi say wo keka kona na wo de bibia ehiem ya pomoden nyina aka ho erade nhiraw say ene so wo ne ye de ehiem na say de me din kan ye no ene no ye be kyerɛw niema ebetumi ama efie aye kama na watwe mienu ebe ya no yakasa bebre afa mental health ho ene ya pomodin ya dwene mu titu aware mu ene ye fa efa foforo na eno so hia pa eti ene de yesu so ho no efa emofra ne ho emofra ne yiedie emofra na pomodin emofra no mental health the mental health of children ena ene epese e ka ho asem eno nti mesrɛ wo sɛ nkɔ baabi a wokɔ YouTube and Facebook and mesrɛ no wa like na wa share wo like na wa share sɛ de be ya obi so ensa beka bi na aboa ama ye nyina yetumi asua de na yakonkan na ahye eradedin animunyam eno nti ena dwumadie titu pa de ebe kasa afa ho. It is about parenting and its impact on mental health of children. Parenting and the impact of mental health of children. Enuti tiawa ne se emofra no enyinimu omo ahonimu oma tenkemu oma dwinimu nyinimu no esusanso ban na awofo yensu ni ye ban no ewo saa oma dwinimu nyinimu eso eno na yepese yehu sanse abofra bi ho abehu se onenam na oye niema bi odan su bi adi ebia na obekasa abofra ode na so oden nanso ebia na efri entiteye ene ayonkofa eja ne na ene ne wo ena ama saa de no esi saa bosomi eye mental health month ewiase nyina ye hwe yadwene mu yenyini mu wa adwene mu pa sebe ya nsusanso a enya wo yeso no ebe ye papa enti efein no WOYIEDIE ASETENA EZRA TV ye hwe emofra ede isanse emofra no ye daachi se emofra ni ho ade ye kakan nyina ensipi ensita enye hwe ma yen enti bomodi ase obetena se na ka kire adofo na ne mofra ne ntena se ebi ankomo ne koso na abofra betimi aka kire eja anaye na obeka bibi e koso na brabo ma ana de wo ya emmoa no obeka amawo hu eno nti ye ntena se na ye mfra mofra na ye ne wo mu nyina ensua ade na emmoa ye ewo abrabom enti no ye nche hu se de bosomi a etwa mu nyina ye ne ye sofo ne ye papa James e wa haide omo na irade de o ma che eno nti no ene ye papa me de bia mfrɛ na Uncle James ni ama ayiku ono ye mental health practitioner eze kasa eso obi a otimi ehwa hunu enipa adwene mu sunsanso a ekoso ewo na brabo mu niema ekoso a enya sunsanso wo na adwene mu no ye papa James ye ho adwuma pa enti mental health practitioner o wa ha sana ye papa Reverend Ewua Isaac Ewua enso wa ha Reverend so na head pastor Emma Kingdom Life Assemblies of God obu krom osan ye married counselor nti sofo ye mo akwaba na mpom te sen abusuafo nyina ho ye de erade ase se da ne da so ye frewa woje ye so na oba erade shout it's your for so na Uncle James wa James, how is the family?
Oh, very fine.
And my sister-in-law? We thank God. Yeah, that's said that that's so ye frewa oba. So we are going straight into the discussion. It's Mr. Opa. Se buka fa pen ka ho na churo bibi. Churo bibi. Se be ye beboa. Ebi kra obesua bibi na o de akire oma no. Ana oma no so besua bibi no so ko school a omo de akire obi foforo. E beboa pa. Mr. And then you be use WhatsApp line no pa. We are on YouTube and Facebook. Titu pa na ho na ye wo. And until phone lines no and I said numbers here did man I was screen so 0202633479 0202633479 and I said 0559592751 0559592751 but what do I say who asem bi se bi afafa ho wetim the voice note so afa ho aba ni nyina ye beje so ye bebo ama asem bi se bi awo yetumi eyi ano ama yo so we move on straight to our discussion. So for we dey meba ho kan ye ka say parenting na say obi ye ka say obi owofo and I say or your parent what do we mean?
Yo me da sipa me chiati fo ne yeah asafo manyina ye ka so parent ya etwi kasa ndi ye ka say awofo na ofo no ye wo mu yenu
okay
say wo pe definition dia wo be use to no na wo dey define
okay
e ka say parent ya e obi a one wawo ba na otete no
wawo na otete
no
okay
no brofo no be kan parenthood
okay
ana e wo ba ko e friend parenting
ono
no nya wo ba no but obi na awo no ana wo na wo tete no.
Okay.
Nti ka parent dia e continue to social parent and then biological parent. Nti say ka say parent ya.
Betimi aba say wo yo wofo wo na wawo abofra na wo tete no. Ana say wo yo wofo enye wo na wawo no de na nso so wo tete no. Ti wo betimi awo abofra na tete no nti na wo nso so wo ye wofo. Uncle James, is there any psychological dimension to that?
Or no, I think parenting is more of a sociological.
Sociological.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's the more of sociological.
Social. So what you are doing for that individual
child. Okay. So for me, I would say that parenting, just as Pastor explained, it has got to do with a male and a female.
The male and the female. It's a bema.
Yes, a male and a female. That have come together. Okay. They have decided to give birth.
Okay.
And so this is their child. And then they are looking after that particular child. But what happened is that we also have the other side where it is not the biological parent. In our brother, it may be a foster parent.
The surrogate one.
Or surrogate parent who is looking after the child. But the focus of the parenting itself is just to raise the child. So whether you are the biological or not, the idea there is to raise the child.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that is just parenting.
All right. So let's just say everything about say oba ne be ma bi aka bu ma warefo no mo aye so mbe wo ba e no ma wo tete abofra no ana say eye obi a owo ne ba bi no no so nim so betimi ahwe abofra bi atete no eti wafa no nyo na wo no but wafa no tete no ti say e ka so wofo a ana say mofra hwa na je say say wo tete abofra no titiw. That's the social setting, how you are training or raising the child. No ti ebeti aba say wo na wo no ananya wo na wo no ti na wo hwe nti odofo ye ka mofra tete no na je say enye omo awo nko aho asem na say ye ka ti be bia wo bia wo chefa wom be bia wo bia chefa wom. So it might mean that you are in the community but you are still interested in somebody. And I think that in the olden days that was happening, but you know no nsisi kese, because if you decide to somehow even scold somebody's child outside, the father or the mother would come and tell you, is that not what is happening now?
Yes, for me, I think previously, because if you check back over the years past, you realize that you have in the Normids where you have a mother and a father living together. Let's take Abraham. They were living together. Imagine there are no uncles, no grandmothers around. They are raising their child. I think the focus there was to raise a child who would take over the business. So they have a livestock, they have a fishing community. So they go in to make sure that they train the child to, and even the more kids you have, the more richer you become, because you can take care of the livestock. And all that. So that was how it started. But at a point in time, when you find yourself in the village, you realize that for the villagers, everyone is concerned about the child who has to be raised, including the elders of that particular village. But from there, we shifted to look at raising children, this time with the third party. The third party is when you take the accounts, they use wafa.
James, now the tree initiation. Yes, wafa.
So in the account tradition, they use the uncles to raise the children. And when you go back to Spain, they use a system where they focus on the grandfather, what they call they have this special name they call Godfather. And then Godmother.
Godfather, Godmother.
In fact, even when I was born in the Anglican church, I had a godfather. This is somebody who will mentor you and coach you.
And I said, coach you or mentor, training you, teaching you some things.
Yes. And sometimes you are even named after the person.
So that's
the third party who is part of the family.
Apart from your mother and
your father. Yes. And then the other one can be a friend of the family. Who decides to come and help with the raising of the child. Yes. So that is the second thing that we saw. Apart from the village, we came to the third party. Some are in existence. And then the third one now is you and your wife and your children raising the child. And that is where challenge comes from. Yes, because it actually takes a village, a whole village to raise a child.
One individual. Yes.
Yes, and not just the two parents.
I am the past one boss as so now. Just say on tete no na community ni nyina na say kro ni nyina. E ka bom no matete abofra. It is abofra na mabonten a de oye bia no panimu bi owo bia timi ka say abofra de oye na nye.
Yes.
Ana otean. Obi kwa timi twa obi kra bato. That time no so otean abofra na okofie kosu. Ana ma mbisa nse hwan na bo wa papa yi owusu na bo me. Oye dan. O na me tobo abo ha na me yes. Obetimi aso wonsa de wasan akọ papa ne ho say. Do ni bi ma me. He say, but now even in school if somebody beats a child, you can see a parent do betimi akọ school mo kra akọ the teacher kra akọ
and let me even give you an example. In the Ghana community, for us, my name is Niama.
Yes, I'm crying for.
Yes. Niama, when you mention Niama in Accra, almost all the elders know the house you come from.
Fear, your body Niama, you fear
where you come from.
Yes,
because our names are repeated. My father named me after his father, and I will name my son after my father, and then the sisters.
So who do ban beto papa?
Yes, no. The names of my
papa de what or no papa.
Yes.
It's who do beto papa.
Yes.
Now no so one not never to.
Yes.
Nature say who shall say now who dino aka because who ban the din ba beto. Because who ban who we are no one san bompa say oba no so bewo.
Yes.
Because no one obenya who benya.
So even my cousin and I will name the same kids with the same name, which means that the moment you mention your name, we know where you come from.
Okay.
So when you do something bad and somebody happens to, you know, discipline you and all that, or the child runs away from, you know, whatever bad thing he has done, they know your house. If they don't even know your parents, they'll go to the main house and they will trace back to where you stay. Yes. Okay. So within that communal setting, we realize that it's almost everybody who looks after the child and not just the two parents.
Okay. Great. Great. And then you see pa. Eti ye kansa owofo a na ye nka ne se ekunu ne yere nko atena se na mawo na emom na busua ni nyina eka ho eno nti ehia pa so for na person
another aspect no so ye the social parenting.
Okay.
Ehwe omo nursery ni nkranketo no school no omo so take rule of parenting.
Okay.
Omo ne from social parenting.
School mo efa no so bem.
Yeah, so because of argument who are akrananya 1 year na 6 months we dey na komo bi.
Okay.
So hwe no santete na de ma no no so ye parenting.
All right.
One ye social parenting.
Okay.
Ana wo hwe orphanage omo hwe nkura wo orphanage.
Omo ni eja omo ni na
nti omo na ne omo tete omo no ho no. Nti ono so ye another aspect of it. When I make a parenthood, once a parenthood no e wa limit.
E could do baby.
Parenthood no limit e mra ba ko awu. You see parenthood ends when one dies.
Because say say nipa ko no ne dia wo ye no esi.
Me ma wo me ba.
Okay.
Ana me ne ete ho ma training na ma na nyini. Ko pe bi so be ware no still na wo ye me ba. Okonyina okọ enso wo ye me ba. Me ye ni parents. But parent ne be end e mra adasa akora na wu. Ana sa me ma wu. Nti say ba ku wudi ana ho na end. But the parenting ono no activity a wo de wo training obi amana be useful our society. Nti on de be koso a wo ho saa.
Even though who train you are training somebody to become useful to the society. That is parenting.
Yeah, that is parenting.
Great.
The activity of bringing up and training a child to become useful
in the society.
Nti the botaye na and say the purpose no say bakọ no be fit well in the society.
Obetimi ne so be ban faso bia
na watimi akọ environment wo mu because we are deviant ya utire man unkom nti so obetimi atena mu yi na wakopu situation around no ono na ma parenting no ebe mu na bra James ka godfather bi nyina ye parenting.
Yes, obi a wo ebi a asori bi mu
na
o hwe so
spiritual father
na o hwe so na say wo ye say the kan o say abusua na damfo enti ono no oba mu beboa say emofra e wo abusua ni mu no so because he has the good of the family at heart so pese obo ama abusua ne koso
enti parenting no and eso nipa bebre na involve but parent do need the biological parent.
Say hono na ya na guardian so be shem ho ba bi.
E be shem ho no.
Because one say parents or guardian. See, ebiana said the worker ebiana ejani na parenthood no esi. So many want to be a then the person does that way. Adofo yesua de pa yesua de nti enka se media man miniba eti no mini bibi a betumi aya ama abofra bi isan se de sofo kan no ya ade a ye ama abofra bi eso aba mfaso wo baby a yetie ene oman ni mu enu nti no de obetumi aye bia se wo ye na aboa na emum awofo so se obi so nwo obi na se wo ba ya ade na se otea na ya na onya abotre isan se bia na de oye na beboa ma oba no ono so eso aba mfaso wo oman Ghana mu eni wiase enyina ye papa no masepa.
Yeah, I think he says something about the almost like the purpose of the parent.
The purpose
and then
of
he
parent.
Introduced more of the socialization of the child into the
community.
Yes. But then again, the parenting, and yet only the socialization aspect. In fact, it's about education, which we in terms of informal education. And apart from that, no. The second one is to look at the supply of the basic needs of the child.
So we are wofo a nyema abofra ni hia what the betimi atena wiase no hia.
So we have two aspects. Yours is to provide for the child, who makes you a parent, or it's part of the parenting. And then the next one is to look at the socialization, where you are introducing the child to the culture, the ethos, the principles, rules, and regulations in the society. Yes. So these are the two things that parents need to look at.
So you just went into the next thing. What makes someone a parent? What makes you? We say that you are a parent, and that's what you've started. Say providing, providing for the basic needs. And yema abofra, what are some of the basic needs? And yema ben abofra no here. Ebema what to me? Who say yes? Me wo ejani na anase me wo bi a or share me.
Okay. So first of all, let's share physical needs of the child.
Needs.
Every child, no. So woman ejani.
Abofra bi o here aduane.
The second one is that he needs shelter, a place where he can sleep. Onya atare.
Atade obese.
It's a woman atare. But the other aspects are what we call psychosocial aspects of the child. Yes. Every child onya comfort.
Say na brabo be kama ma bibia be koboko.
Onya comfort. Onya love. Odo. Second one also onya attention.
Ohia se wani be ko ne ho.
Yes. Attention. To say like bibi hano na
obetimi anya obi aka kire no.
Yes. They want relationship, intimate relationship.
Say
yes. You want to see that. They want assurance. Say uwo honum. Yes.
You are there for me.
Children want that.
Yes.
And then the last one is that children want discipline.
Uncle James, let's see me.
Children want
this. Or you born your person.
Yes.
Because, I see.
You know, they need to know
what is right
from what is wrong. So sometimes children look out for that. Why did I do this? And then I wasn't told this and all that. Yes. And then the last one is guidance.
Say church no.
They come together with the discipline.
Ma who say we me kwan we na me fa so ebeboa ohia na discipline ho no na me de pa say emofra no omu hia say ye betia wom omu hia say ye betwi wom anim omu ya ade na nya watwi anim na emo twi anim no ye papa so a no abona baso.
Yes.
So ho abona baso na reinforcement positive one na aboa because obona baso who say oh we me ye me kai say emofra no omu susu ano sometimes who pese udware o pentema kwa adwuma na udware wom na obi dwane wo hu se wa ba pa be fa no odimika so I realized one time I decided say utumika me few so okọ ye ketwa be ma na okọ kakra na watwa nani mama na woma you see wo hu se the oye no enye to expect say you be bibi ama wo hu se the oye na enye
and it actually show that you care about the child.
It just wo do no.
Yeah, so truly. Discipline is very important.
Yeah, I think that in is it Proverbs 23 Proverbs 23 be 13 ho or say discipline is good for the child. Now wo na own or say abofra no wo na own. I think that in the course of the show, we would find it and then we'll read it. But say at 10 a.m. abofra. Now bona and so we need to do that because when we do that, it helps the children. And I'm happy you've brought that in.
Na me can discipline the main reason why you discipline and beating ne say ye waye bone na ye bu no te say the Uncle James guidance woman hunu say uye we a woman hunu say uye we a esusanso ni uye we so a esusanso ni na ye discipline no wo guide abofra no ona ye discipline nye purpose nye main reason is say wo punish no ye say twaba nye you say there be but say ye be guide o discipline is about guiding woman who there is way na there be boa no na me say the be kan who qualified to be a parent no waka physical needs ne is it psychological physiological needs na educational needs is ka ho
education
spiritual needs is ka ho and health needs ni nyina ka ho especially the social I think Uncle James can social needs no how to relate with people transmitting of culture into the generation the new generation are part of a parent
so be hunu say these are the values we hold
that is it
we na ye jitum we na ye som say ebusua ana say oman patriotism we come in there
ombu be say aduane am beto no
o ma me ebuchi aso no
so you let the person know the culture of the society nti wo no ye de ma say won so ma ba fa mo na culture ne intimacy nti wo transmit culture no nti ono so ye qualify somebody to be a parent. And the educational needs and also and only the formal education but the informal education no if you are the yo eduane noa se de sipra ni nyina so e ka ho bi training na e de ma in fact school mu yesua be a friend is sociology socialization if you be primary socialization it's where the individual learn the new the initial training at home. In the initial training, before you go to school, before you go to the secondary socialization, you need to know the basis. If you are there, and then maybe,
oh sorry, Jesus, I say, I was so and son of a no to and then the homo and EHS. Opie free fear esi ben ne kwasi fie na eti no ane so ode agum azum lion so abefa ye de obesa
so now the fireplace we are some no be dware ku school and the training is basic training primary socialization we we are and some no secondary one which is receive outside home and the parent who is the first agent of socialization e wo fie and education you know a very very important aspect of parenting and spiritual no so man can spiritual no so nka ho spiritual no nye say empire born na ye born here but o sofu fie parent o sofu fie na we leading kura no na say mofra no o ma hu the spiritual needs o manya o spiritual needs and o kire o nyame asem no mo ya sori o kire o se de si bompaye ni nyina ye na wo bompaye mo
o sire nyame ma wo
no no spiritual needs of
o kwa sori a o ma di wachi e bia wo ko no ma di wachi no ma hu de wo ye because you know mofra no so o musua de ye fa ba bi o musua training no enye say ye kan ma ye nko ade ye no no mu so asua bi they imitate they model after what we do enti wo say ni di atem now no wo di atem di wa ha
aso we am kan me baba ko be second month me share me ye rules and regulation board down say ye hweso
what trouble down no
trouble down di say o udidi a wo horo nchansi ho ba be e be penifo betena no nkra no nko nti one day na mdidi na me kaje nso me fanko wasi daddy me mfa o say o si obi adidi a on huru kran ka kire me prin e na say de opeja me maye no e say me
wo sha se
nso me ye bi anza no na practice
na che o me na hu say bi a me de ye panyi enti e to da bi a me tinya mo ye
na communication e so manu hunu
sa
ono ne duty now we do
by example
that is it
you the na make no Proverbs 23:13-14 do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish him with a rod, he will not die. The 14 says punish him with a rod and save his soul from death. Enti say wo ye eya mfa atene nkame abofra na wo de abaahwe no a orenwu se wo de abaahwe no a eno na wo beje ne kra afri asamando
Was a discipline was it?
So
atene.
So
the mayor you need atene.
It goes either way.
Or court to the extend bia yeah
now what they are bem kakra.
Now a brown crampo no bonamanu who say
there's a way of
doing
it.
We are
spanking no. They be because so they not to na so we trying to do ya. Now the not from
now in love.
Discipline in love, that is it. That is it.
Other 4 years sua de pa me gidi say won so sua bibi say de edi nkomo ne ye ni age ho no ehia ma ye say ye bo ama mofra no omunyini ye omunyini mu wo adwene mu wo mo eni wo ma enamfo no mo ayonkofa mu empo wo school mu wo fi ade ye ni nyina eka ho enu tie say ye hwe na say de ye papa no mo empanifo e wa ha no mo boa yen anke James wakwadare wo enipa adwene mu na all chire yen na sofo so edibi ka ho sofo so psychologist in the counseling profession no so di ne de ka ho no san ye sofo no de rade asem so esu ehunu so ka ho no eboa ye pa besrew WOYIEDIE ASETENA mofra ne ka ho pa isan say so omu ni ho a ye sika ye pe edan ye esi ye ne den mofra no it is a wo mu bi krampo ahunu say obetimi de abofra bi ato akoma so na waboa tenetene no ama no so aba be ye nipa ewiase benya ne so mfaso isan se ebia ne mfaso ne ba wankasa kra no onso onsa beka bi the radio sepa. So as we move on, what are some of the parenting styles? Say you can say parents wo boa bofra na wo ye guardian say the acheche mu yo wo ebeti am say wo na wo no enya wo na wo no na emom wo tenetene no eniema ben na ye yetimi akwan hodo ben ebetimi afa so ebetimi atenetene abofra yi sa atene ya ka ho asemi na discipline ene hwe no Uncle James, how do we do it? The styles,
of the styles,
parenting styles.
Okay, anyway, thank you very much for this particular question. You realize that there's no parenting school.
Yeah.
And so your first contact with parents, your understanding about parenting comes from umami ini upapa. And whoever raised you. Who style no. Into based on that, and lessons now as free during the time that you were with them.
Also one chain.
It doesn't matter, maybe it's not your parents. It can even be another parent you stayed with. Based on that, and your own philosophy, no. And no obey you so as your style to raise a child. So psychologically, they came up with some aspects of style.
Okay.
And can say the first style is that you're authoritative parents. Authoritative parents, no. One thing they do is that they have rules and regulations. Yes, rules and regulations. Okay. But the very good thing about them is that at the same time, almost support the kids.
Okay. When
the kids go wrong, they are ready to dialogue, to talk about issues, and then to make sure that the children are on the right track. Into nurturing despite rules, and you're authoritarian. Yes, authoritarian parenting.
It's authoritative. And you're authoritarian.
Yes, authoritarian. Somebody who sets rules and then has high expectations for all the kids. Strict parenting.
So obey.
The moment you disobey, you have to be disciplined. And such parents are more explaining and share the reason why discipline you went wrong. That is it. And they have high expectations and they don't support kids.
So on the
soldier line.
Straight. Soldier na wako
it becomes so strict for such kids. Yeah, and they find it very difficult to adjust during that time. And I don't care parents. Uninvolved. We call them uninvolved parenting. And for them, all what they just need is to provide you with basic needs. Mama a place to sleep. He's gone. Okay, why your homework? There is no interaction with the kids, with the children. There is no support. It doesn't come that way. They just leave the kids to do whatever they want. Yes. And then your permissive parenting. Yes. And permissive parenting comes out of fear.
Fear from the mother. Part of the
from the mother.
And
normally more of it from a single parent.
and now young crankre or no one is be a beman in you. Yes, be out of divorce and I said death or no.
Yes, indeed. Apart from that, you can also talk about husband and wife that have only one child. A single child. Say,
buy back up, no, so no.
Yes.
Into Omabo Frank, one man, your PBA.
So it becomes very permissive. Instead of making sure that the child has stick to the rules.
Okay.
Even when the child doesn't perform something, they go ahead to do it themselves. And they are those who beg their kids. Yes, they beg their kids. Yes, and anything that the kids want, it has to be given. Or the wrong thing, and instead of disciplining the child is forgiven. And the child is not even told the reason why.
Okay. Effect on these children.
Yeah. So it's out of fear that she doesn't want to be the bad parent. This is my only child. If I discipline, so that is the permissive.
And I say, ne baba ye baako. Ana be ma ye baako pe. It is a be ma baako no da ma be mienu mu no. E wo se o gije ne so chese. Ana me ba oba ne ye baako pe. Ntu sa oba yi die. Na na hema. E da che hema. Sa dire je so no no ye boni ayenka.
We can. Once the first one authoritative. Aye. No, no, I had to say almost democracy. The was set or set was no involved in Crano. Only would do come up and or much. No, Busa question cry. It may be some questions. He said, we are in your say. Okay. Now, Grana, there's a Buswa. Punishment. I saw you, Benny. Now, Grana, how we were Crano. Indeed, a Bassana and Crano, a match involved. Okay. Parent need tea and Crano. And authoritarian, I say autocratic. On the say, Jamaican and no, do what I'm running to say. It's who ran so and be a cabin. And on almost sent or the punishment on one I say be or she should be on no, you fear you whom one a Janino. Because you're whom one a Dimika, Johnny, and permissive. I said, what can that one mark quine be a coso? Yeah, that is a fair. I can't say absence of control. Yeah, Janisa. And neglectful, uninvolved. Uninvolved when he said, on show concern, beer. Your parents or didn't see Cabemano. Obehama ku school. Okay. Na Jaka no school mu ho no emfa no. One day more of business and na say na dwuma wo ye enye akura no. Nti I think say as ye ko ne be hu advantage ni disadvantage. Bia obi bia edepo wo kwa wo say wo ka mienu bi. That is it. Na yensa bi bo. Na bi so wo ho a yes sir me to me na yes sir parent no nyenu. Baako be ye we na baako aye we. That is a minimum say be ko kakra. Ka nyina mo ye autocratic ya ana say authoritative ya ha dwene. Okay. Baako ye authoritarian na baako ye autocratic wa keboa. Okay. Na mo amatena ase na mo hawa mbesi
abia no say bibi ekọ a enko ye wa abofra na kwama na efri eja ho na eba ena no timi na on say ade ba kon say ya na empempi no ya na munyina mo ye mema nti eja meka say ya na mema no munya ya mo say o die o maamia eno bi akwa na ye bibia na kese de ko hye maame no o ye bibia na de ko hye
ya man mi so ka bi
o sa
suban we de yo papa suban no afa
e say abofo na ya de enye no we wan say wahu ba no wo ba no wahu ba no de waye no ni aka ne sa but e ma no esuro e ma ne entai nka se abofan oya de papa de ne papa oya de bone de ane de ya kwese e ma ana ma no meboa asemisa we de wa be ya no wo fi ai ye de radio sepa ye papa no e ma ye sua de pa se awofo kwan ye fa so tete mofra ahodo no e wonsunsuanso enche ye be wura ho na obia ye ka se wo hu se wo ye obi a wo mfa abofra no ho se wo ye obi a wo hyemra wo musa abofra no de ono so na dwen kye no wo ho se wo ye obi a wo ma wani ku abofra no ho de wo ye no ehia wo ana se wo ye owofo a wo jeje oba so dodo wa ma ne kwan so onye de ope bia nso so wo de ma no se an se bia wo oba eba baako pe ana se oba ba ye baako ana oba ba ma ye baako na esunsunsanso no enche ye behwe ne se enko ba bia sua bibi me gidi se wa fa oboku wa fa open omodian ne ka kire obi so se wo ye di asetena bedwafo yaba na de yesua ne enne no ene se awofo entity a de ma mofra no eni sunsunso a ewo ho ewo mofra na dwene mu eni wo mu nyine mu ye twa eho sima enche bia ye beba you wonderful ye da se pa se watwen yen e gidi se waka cha adofo me say ye guso edi nkomo yi wo de WhatsApp line e wo TV ni so ana se ye de ato screen so be bia wo bia wo hwe YouTube Facebook ye wo fa WhatsApp line now de wo voice note wo message bi ana wo asem se bia fa to ho now de fabra ye be yi anu amo ye be kenkan so 0202633479 ana se 0559592751 fabra na ebeyi ano amount enkomo na ye de pa ye hwe parenting styles awofo no akwan ahodo a omotete emofra so for instance how do we see the effect on the children with these parenting styles? What are some of the attitudes that reflect in the children in a particular parenting style? For instance, the autocratic, the authoritarian, the uninvolved, the laissez-faire, the freestyle, so many of them. So how does it have impact on the children?
Okay, so first of all, when you look at the authoritative person, you know, that person, we said that the children have the opportunity to dialogue with them. Okay. And a more opportunity to talk.
So yes. And all leading and mofrana mama ya de papa.
Yes. So such child knows about the fact that I know how to dialogue with another person.
Okay.
You realize that Sahabafano, when he's growing up, he gives chance for people to explain or to bring out the rules. He understands what discipline means. They have very good social relationship with people. Yes, and all that. Yes. And then they have good self-esteem. They are also happy children. Because when say a writer, I'm praised. And if it goes wrong, I'm disciplined, but yet supported.
Responsibilities.
Yes. So psychologically, these children are happy kids. And they are able to have good relationship with people. When you look at the authoritarian, which is more of autocratic way, these people become perfect. They are perfect kids. They achieve a lot. But they are not
standards near high. Into one and also achieve into feeling good.
But what happened is that even though Omo achieve, they are, and then they seek for perfection. The moment they are not able to achieve, it becomes
there
is guilt, there is depression. Immediately they will lose their confidence level. And almost said they are the kids that seek for approval. Like, is it okay? Is it okay? Yes.
It will name one person failure.
Yes. And someone even told me about a 45-year-old man who met a therapist and continued to ask the therapist that with all what I've achieved, I don't know whether I have satisfied my dad.
Wow.
So the gap is still there, as in the daddy considers him as a failure, and he has not been able to achieve.
The standard is high. They all pay for Abofran. And
then because there's no dialogue, they don't talk like straight.
And common
on to me beside say, do you think no, you only bring the outcome.
Papa no so can't say why are dear.
No.
Only on Monabaso on can we?
No. So such children, in fact, they are always depressed when they are not able to achieve. But there's also a tendency for that same child to be autocratic when he gets into leadership.
Okay. Or not to the West
Yes.
Do without complaining. Or also to me the court.
Obey the same
thing. And I extend
that anger to the other kids, the friends that are around.
Okay. It sounds so before war.
Yes. Who's that?
On to
no, because ni papa share no son. Or with this anger, the emotions are there.
Okay.
Until on to me releasing what fear. But about school, they are the people who tend to be bullies at when they come to school.
Or no. Tieti ankrofo enkwala ni bi fa ahudie so because of what happened. Ti mi tia omaduane die bi kra bu bi moji omusika ti da bia oba kona oba no wo se wadidi enso so fon ana ofon osuro so o ka che o se abofra we na age maduane a okwa obe bono ntinu no osuro.
Yes. And let me just say something small about bullies.
Okay.
If you are a bully, what happens is that if it's not because of the authoritarian way of leadership, they would have dropped out of school because of the standards that have been set for them. Okay. But if he has a dad who continues to exercise that kind of, they continue in school, that kind of leadership, they continue in school. But those same bullies have problems with relationship, as I said earlier. Because
the relationship here. No person na a boss.
Yes.
And now one will be a crime and
then at the same time there are the kids that will do things and run away with it if they are not seen. Because they know what
how to get away with
it because or do fear a very problem that the father gets to know and he will be totally disciplined. And so the best thing he has to do is that even if it is with his friends problem he has to lie, he has to maneuver to make sure that
things
that is okay.
Yes. Do they pretend this or you're the best?
Yes, it's because of the standard that has been set for him.
Okay.
But they become also wicked because of what is done to them at home. So there are two things. Either it will dampen the self-esteem of a child, or he will go the other way to bully other children. So that's what happens. The uninvolved parenting, the effect is that the child becomes less responsible at home because he's trying to figure. He needs somebody to guide him.
But guidance, and
then he doesn't have that love for interaction, good interaction with parents. So Usha and relationship outside becomes a problem. Such child actually thinks a lot, and they get depressed
because there's no love. So oh yeah, bonny. Ubi can't say why bonny, and I can say. The children even need discipline.
Yes. But
will be anywhere also discipline, which is love in itself. Internet just one can say no dream will say there's nobody caring for me, nobody likes me. Internet is a near man a sheneso. Bibia hana only be an income once. And
then that child no performing poor academically in school.
Of course,
because nobody is serving as a guide or new relationship. You see, when kids are not doing well in school, it's not just listening to the teacher. In fact, factors never free fee to me can share and say, listen, you are disturbed. There's nobody who loves you. And now about school, so when he's being rejected by his own friends, it worsens the whole situation. Yes. And then when there's such children, when they come, they are not really dressed well. Maybe his shoelace is dirty. And all that.
What we see in them,
and then the permissive parenting, they become those who get away with things just like that because they don't respect authority.
Because
they stand against authority. Yes. I'm going to call my mother. And then they also get to be bullies. They bully other kids.
Because when himself will be
yes. Because once they do that, they know they can get away with it. And then or the father or the mother will come and we think they are happy children, but at a point in time they realize that they are not happy kids.
They are not happy
because of the results that come from outside, and most of the time they end up performing poorly which affects them.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So abofra no, say we ye enna, when a wo fa so, say we ye eja, ana we ye ohwefo. Na wo gina ho say abofra no, wo na wo hwe no no. Kwan a wo tete no, kwan a fa so atete no, e wo nsunsan so abofra no, esu ne eban a obenya. Nipa obenyini ababeye ti se we obi a wo tia no hye ne se ye wei na no anu musa se ono na dwen kire ne sen ya na ye se ono wonyini a oba ba ya abofo no so ode sa tia na abekọ enkrofo so nti okosu ono so obule obi okosu o tia obi fa ho de so fi se no na onim eno na wasua ena se wo ma abofo ne kwan so onya de ope bia wo fie oye oba kro enti ojeje ne so okwa abonten a saa opese bibia ohia bia ne nsaka ti se ne nsa nka bibi kura obetimi they throw temper tantrums because they need it. So oh here be in some country I was say
they even still
they
take it from people by force.
And they don't know say it's not everything that you can get in life.
Yeah.
It is when you cry failure becomes something or until then o fail kakra bi pe na just say and say if you are a crampo they was so film but in kugu so can brabo ne ho it is exactly it is a what the tia bofra na so ma ne kwan say de ope bia won sabeka ope ball ne nsaka ope two ne nsaka ope abuduaba ne nsaka ope ice cream do obi say bia ne nsaka dia na yes onyi na onim say whatever I need I should get I should get enti onim say abrabo kra ho kire kra betumi aba enti ehia pa owofo ye yiedie emofra no eka ho enti yensua de sa fe na wo be ware se wa ware na fe na wo be wo a mesrew sua bibi tro bibi to na wa kire se owofo ben na wo pese wo ye na aboa so fo ba so de na pese wo de ka ho a
na wo kan permissive
so wo ma abofra ne kwan
kan universe sansan uninvolved no there's a positive one aspect of it.
Okay.
So krano etimi ebeye owo high initiative.
Okay.
Personal initiative.
So no na abo na homodin na nsa
kan. We nya sa gift no.
Okay. Independence.
Utimi develop bibi.
Ono atimi dwen.
Ye bibi.
Ebo bibi actually na dwenem.
That is the positive aspect of it. Now oba authoritative no nso a hono no metima ka say perfect.
Perfection.
Perfection is authoritarian. But you can say a perfect style of parenting and they say positive, you know, a dozen.
Okay.
The positive
aspect
a dozen. Yeah. Develop high self-esteem.
Okay.
The confidence level. So
yeah,
the confidence level.
I can do spirit.
The confidence level was through. And I was telling you.
Okay.
We name the oye. The authoritarian no. Hono no. Bonze osua fro papa ho. Papa na say ye de meka. Enti bonze okosku a ne akura ba ku di nkoma hu say one ye leader.
Opese o che say me so no ye de me mepe.
Enti wo de beko ho.
Okay.
The sankrofo na mre bi o mo force to be a leader no.
Leadership potential na wo mu.
Yeah, wo mu but o mo no mfa number
no.
Nhyɛsoɔ bɛm nti yɛ pɛ class captain class 2 ɔno a ne bɛpɛgya ne sa wan to ama na ɔno wase saa ngrofo no
onyini so ana ɔde kɔ
nti saa training no ɛwɔ positive hɔ ɛna ɛwɔ negative hɔ but ɔmo leadership style ne maybe ɔmo autocratic maybe ɔmo autocratic ana yɛba permissive na sɛ dada ba ne ayi no saa nkrofo no hu sɛ academically no mutimi ye poor.
Okay.
When you say okó school na mo mama.
I say agene no e che say bia me pe bia mama na de mama nti me ya mama. Say me go say school no kwa say Uncle James ka say the parents even tend to beg them.
That is it.
Ne papa na mama kura pa ne chew wo de come wo de o kwa mama come mama. Eti wa kono ko ni say ai come mama.
Nti onya kape e hye kwa mama me.
Kwa mama.
Onya pa na chew say o de come mama ndi e hye nitirim. Onyini kura me kwa mama.
Kwa mama me.
Nti basa na me bia on take initiative say me tenase
asua de.
This e wo force no na say o de fe no. But osua de mama. Ansa no of book osua.
Christian asua de.
But say o de compare ni nyina na on say ni nyina no. Say de na Uncle James ka no. Nkrane pick the star wo parent wo fa no na mo de kwa ba
mo so ebe ye ni su
nyina fo ni nyina so to na de wo ye no wo de be ko na dan fofo so uninvolved wo de be ko sa na ni fo ni nyina
ti sa akola nso oni oso se just wa pick ni ema bi every mu no de ko odo fo ye sua de pa me gidi se me meti ya mi sua de me gidi se won so sua de anti se de ne mofra ne te ene eniema ye kwan ye tete fa so atete wo mu no wo mu sua niema ye papa no ma ye hu se de ye no na wo mu sua de akwa abonten it is wo pese wo ba no obeye nipa a ne so beba mfa so ama ewiase ana aman a ye wo mu ana wabusua na ye se wo so atoto niema yi sanse wo ma ne kwan wonya de wo pe wo be ka cho se me kwa mama me wo ko school na ma wo it is wo feli kura wo feli ma wo If I fail for my mother. If I pass for my mother. And the no there. Why you who is in change? Sometimes the dissociation. Well, there's a way you who free mukra. Ne maame na ama na basa. And the failure be as we ne maame and papa na me na fail. Because they keep on blaming. I'm sure they will have the blaming attitude.
And James kan ya. Na obu akura no ma na team achieve.
Okay.
Nti de wo ye bia no boa no anase ese no.
Okay.
Nti se oku school a o se guidance a so de man na de man. Mama na hu.
Yeah.
Ensusu sanso.
Okay. What do children need from us as parents?
One.
E de na mofra no mu hia free ye ho se awofo anase ahwefo.
Yeah. Omu hia love
odo no.
Se e be yi odo adidi a chiro. Say James ka say mom hu say we are there for them. Nti ebasa na obi a wota na chi a oboa no. Nse oye bibi on se me koka kire mama. Omo wo se o maame no papa wo ho a omo support no so ko school ma o me je meye bia no metimi aye fi so maame wo ho a
obe time chi.
Ana two as a provide basic needs. The other is a physical needs ya discuss no. As we to provide the ma emofra no. One provide ya bibia wo ye bia no untimi nkonani. Untimi te say untwa fees ni abepa mo no. Emotionally no be affect abofra no.
Abonidin say ono kwa untwa fees at parade grounds. Ai.
Na on say hadwini nti ekura na mekura ya mempese schools bu bon kura nti say akura class 3 ni abodi say untwa fees o class ni abodi ni mo begina nimu ha kura ni psychologically affect o mo pa no ni twa fees no na say be call one parent no direct
say o fo no ne ke say onye na adwuma yi obi o am say o be friend na kura no won fa me de be na mi be tia nti ana say
but to that extent no psychological
the system has changed because when I was growing up almost the headmaster knows where I live and knows my parents and even the teacher can even come to the house. You know, but these days I think the children come from far
and they are too many.
So
you know there's a teacher na headmaster na mistress obi hu abofra bia efi
the no physical needs you so provide
so the man
and social needs.
Okay.
How to interact with people. So they see
so church say they nipa de ebe kasa
manners o church no minim ha missing kanji church no say they see kasa
me pa cho yeah
on say yeah etiquette on say mamre no emfa ezabonkum nkasa nje ni nyina no
ye ha de sa na etie
eso chire nkra
na me pa cho
yeah omu hie
fa cheme those things you know
nti boze nkra ni bi nyina na social romo laki say they see ni padi
onim kra say oye bibi na nya e wo so ka say I'm sorry and I say pa cho
nti boze basa na ontimi nkasa ni pam ne hu
onim so ko kasa kwa dia no anko kasa yi
ya sere no nti parent was said
you for was said say obekira abofra no kasa
omu hia free ho no
okay
omu hia sa no mani
if ekwan kese ben pa me hu ni say de say de kan ne e wo so omu hu say ye ye wo wo say de wo ye no
they are able to
practice it
in fact they really need to see it that you are showing it. You know, if your husband comes home and then you say that, oh, you are welcome. What happened at home? It's the same thing as when the child comes back from schools. You just ask of how was school today? Oh, how was it? What happened? Anything interesting? Yes. But unfortunately, that is missing.
We hide behind a juma. What brings? Our friend okay, be all school no. Ne papa ana ne mama ne papa ko adwuma kora agya no ansa na onu woko ana se ntem na ye pese ade ne ko na kosi obeba ne nso so no na ebia ne papa ana ne mama nya mafie especially omo na omo adwuma eche anso ma ba fie na osan wo house help no na ni nyina akwa kogu saa ono no so nti oni abofra ne nya egita ho bia na abofra ne sua bibia firi ni nche
ana ba ko ye moral and character training se ni
so
de kan e so
ne ban no
wo pese o ma akra no enya values bia me teach bia me ye habit formation in child training.
Okay.
I'm focus on past
abofra no so osua enema pa no
dia kra no etimi nyina hasi we die me maame na kire me maame na di wura me mu eso etimi ka bi ehu hia pa di wo ya wofo a training moral
training na uja legacy na uja about morals and uja ma abofra
no said the kind the wo ye no mo follow mo practice here and inti character no there undimi nka different na won practice different so practice ni fi
wo kan no na wo ye
no mo hu no fi
it was a film here I say don't practice this at home. Abofra no so no wo. Abofra bi so as abofra na wachro no onti iti dia wo ye no wo ye.
Watukra na on say life. Ya brabona na wo so no na ye.
And sometimes they see one thing where they just by the way. We say we watch the films, this person who has been stabbed to death in one film is seen alive in another.
Yeah.
And so he's alive. And so it means that we have a lot to tell the kids.
Yeah. Okay. But couldn't say leadership.
I can be so very can be for.
Oh, your parent. Oh, now do almost. Leadership skills ben as example ben and I will feel granny here if you hold because JC must say 360 degree leadership. Everywhere you find yourself, there is a leader. In the Nipper Tush, definitely see back to be a leader. In the end, they are uncle bank manager, uncle CEO, but he is a leader in his own corner. And the one has some money training. We have started training if you parent one. In the Nina, no idea the Akan, Obemodo, Obey, no, what they are chrom. Say in a tear. Because so your father now leadership style will feel enya akrani suya utiatia is autocratic ayeke I say you who are ni esi dwane esi do TV obi akoda dungrani suya do ware
ote abai pepe I guess obi a by force because any day
ware do practice ano no me na mawale me na mawo nti me na me de me kan na eso ofa nti basa na akrana asuya wrong thing.
Okay.
The best thing is no leadership no ye leader papa wo fie
na abofra no so abeya abofra pa no no so nyin a wabeye panyin pa eti ye owofo anase ohwefo papa ema abofra no dan esu papa edi hye na ade papa na ono so eya abofra no wasua saa niema no na onyi no abeye panyin pa sanse ye se abofra bone na nyine ye panyin bone abofra pa so na nyine ye panyin pa ehia pa
na sa leadership no kra na spiritual aspect so kan spiritual leader yeah spiritual leader na me ya me tufu say o ye leader wo fia ma kra no hu so ye leader
ma kra no hu so ye can
spiritual leader
okay
mo mu hu say devotional why
okay
no achiro mo there so mo ye spiritual and sana o matima ye physical thing we are no pa no mo start shesu mu akọ adwuma no e de no mo ye no fie
sa
some do mo hye nyame nsa nsa no motu anamo nti wo kire o nyina we na boa kra na ne spiritual foundation no establishing nti basa na no mabone from ebo so called spiritual na spiritual na this is nyina no him no because we are grounded wo nyame asem ene hum femu spiritual aspect no so very very important
okay enti no ehia pa se ye hwe sebe ya ye be konkan ewo abrabonim na ya hwa ma mofra no so eyi edue SCP na esita enti sabre no me pese koso na wo hwe eye messages no ana se unhu kwan abefa so audio beti odo message beba eye WhatsApp lines na wo ho 0202633479 ana se 0559592751 ubetimi e de o message aba ubetimi de wasem aba so o wasem bi se bi apese ubisa na empanifo wo ha ye yi ano ama sara nso so na bia wo suahunu bi bibia sia ma opese obi so etia fabra me se ene no ye bibia e wo YouTube and Facebook ehia yempa ye wo messages kakra free ha eye Auntie Janet Opoku or say I'm watching you live from Italy. Rebecca Akwa also says that he welcomes us. She's welcoming us. Welcome to the live program. Powerful message. God bless you. This is Rebecca from Italy. And then Rich Media also says he's watching live. It's my second time watching you guys and love your topics. By the way, is the prophet coming today? I don't think so. Not today. It's no yeguswa. Also wait me they was saying bisaba. O pesa wode a voice note so baswa ye be eje na ya kan amount. Uncle James, what are some of the psychological effects of how we train the children on them? What effects do they have as children? Say they are share a quite a fast mofrano. In soon sounds what been a walk almost woman dreaming any woman who knew.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, let's look at when you have a baby. I want to start from a baby. Yes. Every baby, you know, babies are very fragile. They are innocent. They are very vulnerable. So, and you know, once when we started discussing this thing about parenting, I just said that no child even came with a manual.
But for
no child was born
template
for us to look on it to train them, just like what camera, and then there's a manual for you to. Children don't come with that. So we find a way of trying to train them and then to raise them. So having said that, when you look at a baby, right, a baby is so fragile to the extent that all what they need is to trust the caregiver, the mother, who is taking care of the baby. So what we try to encourage is that you breastfeed this particular baby and then hold the baby close to you with the smiles, the touches and all that. That is the first point of attachment between the mother or the caregiver and yes. So right from that part, you realize that the breast milk, the importance of breast milk is to help with the development of the brain, so that the child will now start with a psychological aspect, because he doesn't know anything about emotions, he doesn't know anything about thinking and all that. So that is the beginning. If we miss that, in terms of it's not there, the child suffers from what we call attachment disorder. And attachment disorder is two. The first thing is that because he doesn't have strong attachment with the mother, he begins to have a mixed indifference in terms of the emotions with people. So you realize that things that is supposed to make him smile or happy, he doesn't know what it is. Yes. And that child doesn't trust anybody. Yes. So we call it reactive attachment disorder. And another one is called disinhibited attachment disorder. And because he didn't get the attachments from the parents, when the child is growing up, he may excessively, inappropriately attach himself with other strangers. He doesn't know them, but he is forcing to have that kind of attachment with other people. And that is a problem, because you can't get attached to somebody that you don't know. Yes. So that's the first. Yes, because there was no mother. There was no one to love them, that attachment. And children need that, babies need that, because that's the first point of contact. Yes. Because as I said, a child doesn't know any emotions. So he knows that when you bring the food and it's comfortable, you smile. And then he also learned how to smile. You realize that when you tickle a baby, he doesn't know what it is. He frowns his face. He's like, what is this? It's a new thing. So we have to introduce what it means to make the child. Then he begins to, this is how it is. So if right from a baby stage, if the child doesn't get that attachment, the psychological problem is that you're going to have attachment
problems,
disorders. And then the second one is that, so with the one that we talk about in terms of autocratic leadership and all that, you realize that the child becomes depressed at home. He's not happy at home. In fact, I really have to put this on record. 1 in 5 US children are not happy at home. It was one of the studies they did. Yes. They are not happy at home. And then 1 in 10 children who are above 8 years in the UK, UNICEF did that study, I think in 2017. They realized that most of the children have psychological problems at home because of the way they have been training them. Yes. So you can have attachment disorder, you can have depression, you can have prolonged sadness, you can have poor academic effect on children. It can also change the eating pattern of children and sleep pattern. Sometimes
and to me and yes.
And you have a child who have apart from the academic problem, they are going to have a relationship problem. they become antisocial.
Mm-hmm.
Antisocial is against society rules that are supposed to control him.
Yeah.
So they are the people who become narcissistic. Mm-hmm. Everything is centered on them. Mm-hmm. And you realize that they have poor relationships with people, and they become wicked. There are people who violate rules, they vandalize. Yes, they develop.
So do we then relate most of such children to these boys and girls walking around, social vices here and there? They are committing it and also doing things that is against social norms.
Yes,
naturally from the home.
Yeah, it's coming from the home.
Okay.
And then apart from that, you may have children that may suffer from physical illness. You know, most of the times when children are not happy at home,
okay,
or you realize when there's no freedom and all that, you realize that Sakra, no, he doesn't know how to express his emotions. So as I told you the other time about somatization, they convert it into physical symptoms. They'll tell you that so small time you realize the child is sick. The child is sick. It's because there is
something lacking.
Yes, something is lacking at home. So these are some of the psychological and the physical signs you are going to see among such children.
Oh, cancer will be a whole background and pub walk around to 2 years and all that. And never been I'll be who are before being was about Friday, the ministry. Say, if you am so that you see sometimes people, teachers may want to see some signs, people in the community may want to see some signs. I say, I dear Koso about Freya Brabuno, say fear so that if there's something that the person or the elderly can do about it, they take steps.
You know, sometimes these children get angry with other people.
Just
yes, or they isolate themselves.
Okay.
And then sometimes
you can see it in their dressing.
You can see it in their dressing.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe there's nobody. The one we talked about with uninvolved parenting. You can see that he's trying to fix something or wear something.
Okay.
So you'll be able to identify, and such child will not be able to express themselves well. So these are some of the signs you are going to see about a disturbed child. Okay. And apart from that, I still want to hammer on this anger issues that children take on another child. Right? So these are some of the psychological signs that you see. And then the last one is that they perform poorly at school.
Of course, school and so
they perform poorly, all because of the mother's perception or the parents' perception about achievement.
Okay.
You see, there are 3 kinds of children who may not do well at school. We have what we call the late bloomer.
Okay.
The late bloomer is a child who has retarded in terms of his development. He is 6 years old, but he cannot match kids who are 6 years.
Said the new theatre no. Adwinimu enyinimu no onuru ne mfefo no.
Yes.
To say 6 years. What do you now so the influence for to me no
onto me, which means that he's one step back. And the mother or the parents need to understand that is how the child is. He's a late bloomer.
Late developers.
It takes time for him. So if the child needs to be repeated, he needs to be prepared for the repetition. I use the word prepared. Okay. Because sometimes you repeat a child and then he finds himself that his friends are going. Yes. And then even when it comes to the father, you are a failure. Why is that? You are the only one who don't understand. You begin to compare that particular child to another child. In fact, when you do that, you dampen the spirit of a child. You reduce that kind of self-confidence. The ego is destroyed.
Self-worth.
Yes, it's not there. And the child, children can't figure out what they can actually do to make it possible for them, because he's in a certain darkness where he needs a light, and the light is not coming. He simply can't get things out.
They get confused.
Yes. So those are the late bloomers. And then we have got the slow learners.
Okay.
Slow learners are kids that have below IQ. Our IQ ranges from 90 to 110. Yeah. But for them, they are below. And then sometimes they are at borderline. You may find it between 70 to 89, but they will not get to 90. And then such kids have, their problem is that an inability to learn very quickly. Which are there, but they are slow in picking.
Yes.
Before he or she picks what you are trying to say. But sometimes we don't understand such kids. And then we match that kids against the standard of everybody in the class. So in the US, they don't use that kind of system. You need to identify such child, and then the standard has to be different from, but it has to be in the same class.
Teaching method, no?
Okay, yes, no different. Yeah, where you my because I will find it it's a baby crowd in Fieno na a day eco school. No, say abofrano na general so engineer drew new Fieno. Yen check it out. Oh, or 13 years and there was all a JHS 1 and 2 or say, Hanty or no crowd or check crowd school. As you are saying, the preparation, you know, it's not there.
It's not there.
It's, you know, now for no man, now, what class and cry, EZRA, or repeater. And it becomes a tag, the repeater.
Yes. So such child with a slow learner, at a point in time, even when you repeat him, thinking that he's going to pick up, he can't pick up. He can't pick up because at a point in time, the emotional trauma comes in. He's older. He even grows above his class.
Yes.
And then in adolescence, there are those who beat and bully people around, and then they become very violent. They are the first to enter into sexual activity with other people in the class. And then we have the last type. They call them underperformance. Underperformance is a child who IQ is very high, but he is not disciplined. Yes.
It was so powerful, so
he lacks discipline. Yes. But the moment you put him to you guide him, give him that time, he picks up very quickly. But unfortunately, there's no self-discipline.
Okay. And that's what he needs.
That's what he needs. So you realize that if a parent doesn't understand these kind of kids that are coming up, you shut that child, you blame that child, you beat that child. Later on,
you compare them, and then
he becomes depressed. And sometimes they drop out of school because they simply can't figure out. I think I was having a conversation with someone, and the person said that my mother used to tell me, go and study, go and learn, go and learn. And then he asked, I said, how old are you? He said, I was 8 years. And I asked him, he said, do you know what learning means? Even adults have problems with learning. If you tell a child, go and learn, he doesn't know what learning means. Have you finished your homework? You know, so because learning itself is a whole process on its own.
And I will find a book, no. We teach a book in my nature, say, no, na. We are the idea of a phone, Naja, or share game kakra. No, we know who you are, I say. There be who diagro. It was so
go and learn.
Or bet himself a book, no, so that is a feeling.
So the psychological problems that come up, I've mentioned the attachment, I've mentioned depression as a case, conduct problem, those who vandalize and then destroy things. And then those who throw the temper tantrum, oppositional conduct disorder.
Now, Jenny Mabasa,
they have that. And then you have those who have health issues, physical health.
It's saying, I will phone a young friend. And
then some will be having social issues. That's where the antisocial personality disorder comes in. So these are some of the disorders that you'll find in such kids if they are not parented well.
Now, so for I mean, it's also the baby also now.
I think say poor academic and any antisocial, and then I'm pessimistic.
Okay.
I say activities here, and I say parenting style and wolf, you know. And I am crown more, no school and crab. Maybe a ballet.
Okay.
Now the current of ballet in say, oh, my man in Nantem. And you're name the biological mother,
or be a shen on the
indeed, or the my men and man of school.
Oh,
and son of a school.
No, I be seeing one
best school to a better school, no first break, you know.
Sometimes I'm almost seeing ideas so that
to a better abonting, confirm say first break, you know, a no or the more no. Because Uroma, you be punished. In Tibasana, maybe a crown, or you're very good. But now, so into me and bantem picky certain things, no, and maybe a no, or average, into me or wait, but 20 minutes in difference. But a cup, yet me any corner. Yeah, Gardenia could bet me up pushing up and anymore.
So you can have an underperformed.
Yeah,
underperformed child. Also having that opportunity.
Underperform. Do who anymore who say, or so
and Pediana bread,
sir, who now or so far. me find say madam for kwa nyame ni move nyame na me na mboa na kakra nyame fam so a ntumi now he's in the Kenya University.
Wow.
O Kenya University or se Kenya unti poor academic work no parent no very very important. Yes, kusua de no nko a yes why your homework no nko a learning no so many ways. Obia was star or this year
learning styles.
Be observant.
Sir.
Observe, sir. Be organized. Organizing no. Once osua de so for maker. Oh yi no atchire obi won so a ohwe mu na aka. Obia won star.
Obi so ho age so ye kinesthetic. Yes
obi okura osua de age so tie radio. Ohwe TV. And I say music big the background no na eboa na ma motivate man moral.
We dey baba ko si moral. Say ema no. Moral. Oye adwuma bi kra na eden kra so tie nyum na. Ema energy no etimi ba na waye. But enyum ni hye na so ma ya na.
Enti yes ati we nyina so nya sa na yen de yenim no de sa yen kra na basa na how ana antisu no antisocial no so I say parent said you will relate with your children home no and a chere because to the sense of my grand feel so no onye nipa do ko nipa mu osuro also oni say
yeah otia no na onye
yeah ndo ko nipa mu a osuro nti wo ye bibia no ofere no mpese obe wure nipa mu you can say inferiority complex and to onjini hundi nti mebia we wani mu sene we ti say sene me nti mebia no otwe no ho free enipa ho nti parenting style no ene dis ano ma we
nyina etime de ba odofo usua de pa won say de me dan me no say me sua de san say abofra no say de wote no ene na ebe kire wo se owofo no fa saa kwan no so na tete no abofra a wono no ne nyini mu no oka achi kakra efri ne mfefo ana se ne sesofo so no e wo se onya abotre ma no abofra so ono so no ne nadwini mu do na so no ohia se wo bed boa ne kakra ma wa hye ne nema yie no ohia wo owofo ejeda bia oka se kosua de e na yesei na wo hye na che se wo tete no I know a child that wono no wo ka asema che ne kra na already voice or you confused wo ka asema che na wo tie mu no
it's a threat
yeah wama na dwini mu ento he wani mu say why I say what is happening to me ento hia sasa abofra no wo ne kasa boko wo ne kasa ye wei obi so wo ha they are not good at multitasking enti wo ka say kofa me bag ibre me wo ba na wa hwe wo ba hwe ho na he say me phone ne so da ho a na ya che say who can you be me boma why confused?
Those are the slow learners. They can't get the and then you begin to knock him and say that advisor you don't get it.
You don't get it. But then you know and so can say kofa we bra wate fa we ka ho wate enti we na kakra e ya abotre me nuanom ma ye nkununom ye nuama ma nom che say ye nyina ye wasudie eti se wo ye wo fa wo ye sewawo we maame na ejawo we a teacher you also have something to learn because as a teacher if you are able to learn these things and you know the types of children that we have it helps you
I think unfortunately our educational system doesn't provide that all those resources for us to meet the needs of students
because of the numbers too
but I think the private schools they are supposed to initiate that that kind of looking at children who have problems and how best they can support them. Unfortunately they too is the money and all that.
Sikano.
Someone complained of a child who doesn't want to learn. He's not interested in learning. And he said the child liked playing football. And I said, football is also the best way of teaching the child.
Yeah, it's a mind activity.
If you take the child to the park and then you play and you say one, he's learning the numbers.
Mathematics.
So when you kick, you say one. Then you say kick back to me. Then you say two. So it's a game.
So you are using the play to help him.
teaching.
Yeah.
So these are some of the ways.
Intelligence, no. But sometimes we say we want book and read. Now book and now read. That is it. A grown can. But sometimes play therapy is also there.
Yeah.
What the grown boama bofrano esuya.
Yes. And then one other thing about the even the late bloomers is that they realize that they are not stimulated enough. When I say when you watch foreign movies, when say ansana akrab bi akwa dano. When say ni papa and ni mama be read storybooks. Actually, is to help with the imagination, the reasoning, the thinking.
And when they sleep, they
think about
go through it.
And then such children have got the opportunity to also express themselves, because they will say, why is it that the princess did not accept?
They ask questions.
So it helps with expressions. Okay. Unfortunately, that kind of reading stuff is missing.
I'm running you, Uncle James. My meetings there for me. Babette now, me be I was arrested. Another meeting is in waiting. Not
only that, they talk about the fact that it has to be a stimulating environment.
Okay.
And that helps a child to also do mind work. So it's better, even if you can't read storybooks, you can tell him that this is a story, I'm doing something, read it. And then what happened? It's still stimulation. Okay. Some people use these new videos that have come for kids, and then they play it, they have special times they play it for the kids, and then they ask questions alongside, not because they just want them to watch it, but they ask.
There should be that stimulating aspect
of
it.
If we are doing that stimulation all the time, you realize that a child is able to pick up.
Okay.
Before he even goes to school, he picks up, and then that kind of environment we have created at home helps him to thrive well
when he goes
to school.
Okay.
But these days, I think we have left everything for the teachers.
Teacher for I remember Uncle James. There was this video I watched. Mameno nebano the homework aba. Anna say past participle. English work we know. Then the woman called the teacher. Teacher, why did I pay you?
Why do you bring it?
Yes, now the work here man but fresh on family me say I mentioned why did I pay you?
Anyway, but the system is because of our education. But I think in France also they don't give homework to kids to bring at home because I think they have got sufficient time for a child to do
everything
and then they prescribe other stuff they should do at home. The parents should do at home with the kids. Yes, so they call it a playful educational period.
All right.
And parents are supposed to do that to help with the stimulation of their brains and
minds,
the thinking and reasoning. But that is missing.
Very, very important. Order for enema yesue de mesrel pa emofra ne ka ho yiedie asetena emofra ne ka ho pa eti baabi a wo bia no mesrel say fa bibi tro bibi to ho na like na share. This program is going to be on YouTube inti e wo ho emre bia se ne no wo frɛ obi na wo sanka na ochena wo de fa share fa send no na nipa ko no ensan hwe no usua bibi mfim fi say ehia se yesua sa ne me ni aboa ma mofra no agina yi san se niema yesua nyina no e wo effect into so wo ma dwene so sa abofra no betia be nipa a wa ya na say yete nyina no we have become who we are through our parents or people who trained us. Well, we've picked some things from them. It's a here pass baby and so will be also be baby now what they are share baby. Now Uncle James, before we go for a break, these styles that we have, does it have any gender implications on the children? Which never say abofra no your bar effect no eso and I say eso sense or your bema and I say abofra bia ebetimi affect no. Do we have anything like that? It's
based on the age. When you look at kids, their age between 0 to 7, unless they get to the teen stage, before they have this identity problems about how they should be treated. Otherwise, if between 0 to 8, 9, all kids react the same about challenges at home. So there's no strict distinction between a male and then a female child who has been undergone a very bad treatment at home. They'll still react the same. But it will manifest when they grow up as to how they react when they are growing up. So right from teenage period, they'll get to know. Imagine your mother tells you that you have a big head, and then you are a teen. You get to your teen stage. You are aware that your mother says that your head is big. So self-esteem issues come in. As your self-image become what we call self-image distortion. You think that, Charlie, I'm not nice, my head is big, because that is a period where your peers are beginning to compare the way they look at. Yes. So within children, you don't really find any difference. Both of them are going to react the same. But as they are approaching teens, the differences begin to show up.
So abofra dia na ejane enane ahwefo entity no ewum se wo effect but oba na be ma no nyina afam the same. But then onyini abeye adolescent na oba ne ba ye ana ne mema ye no hye na afi de o dwendwen ne ma na o hwe na o kasa na ekonimu na wo nsunsanso wo ne so eti ne je se ehia pa se ye hwe emofra no de oma anyini ebeye bia no ye wo asudie wo so se ohwefo ana se eja se ena ehia. And can we also look at it in a sense that abusive parents can fall in one of these categories? Because sometimes if the child feels he is being abused, like I say, and also it has effect on the person to become who he will become, like the bullying and all those things.
Yes, I think for the males, as I said, if it's we don't really bully, we don't really beat girls at home.
Okay.
We beat more of the males because we feel they are stubborn.
Boys are normal sword drink.
Yes, they really beat them at home. But just as I said, the males and the females, it's only when they are approaching the teenage years that you really see the effect of what has happened to them when they were very young.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how we can see the difference. But when they are very young like that, children, all of them react to the same thing. Low self-esteem, isolation, and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pa. Me just say wahwe na afi so say the maka no ene ye wo YouTube, ye wo Facebook, enti say the messages no ubeti media fa WhatsApp line so 0202633479 and I say 0559592751 no. But more than so de wasem bi se bi ananse suehunu bi a wonya no be de beba voice no so de ba so aye bebo ye twa ye hu sima ye ba ye toa so Uncle James wa ha James ni ama aiku ono ye mental health practitioner I would say ye ka say mental health practitioner na ye say obi a ohwe adwene mu ne se de e ma ye dan isu bi adi ana se de niam bi a ye hunu wo ya brabom etimi nya nsunsuanso wo ya adwene mu na ene no ye hwe emofra se de awofo ehwe emofra etumi nya nsunsuanso wo ma adwene mu na edan isu bi adi wo ma brabom no eno na ye hwe nti Uncle James wa ha oboa ye pa ena sanso na Reverend Isaac Ewu asoso wa ha so fo so married counselor they say oboa ye pa na ono so kyerɛkyerɛ am ye hu esu ene ye ban a awofo ye da na bi a etimi nsunsuanso wo mofra no so titu wo mu adwene mu na etumi nya nsunsuanso wo mu nyine mu daachi oba be ye nipa bi a na wo hwa efiri owofo no sa abofra bi enam krom baabi na se owiewia niema na bibia na ye se bia na owofo bi anye de sese oye ananso ohwefo bi anye de sese oye ena ma saa de no asi eti ye nyina ya asudie se wo ba se woni ba se waware se wonware ye wonto so no wo asudie se abofra bi wo mantamu ana wo ye teacher wo school mu ana se wo abusuo bi na abofra bi wo mu a enga se we de asumasi ba oseye a oseye ma saa nipa kro no oseye a oseye ma ye nyina eti etwa ye ho ye ba ye beto aso odofo akwa aba pa yema wakwa aba se wonto so woda so a ene yen eti na ye di dwuma yi ye kasafa emofra adwene mu nyine hu titiw pa na efa awofo ene ahwefo esese yeye ana adwuma esese yeye a ebebo ama mofra no enyini eyi na enkomo no be edu no epese ebisa Uncle James say what are some of the attitudes that parents need to put up? Esubia anybody was awufo ye dan na di say ya establish say the children watch us. They model after what we do. What are some of the attitudes that are very good, positive ones, and then we look at the negative ones that we need to exhibit as parents.
So which one do you do? You do the negative.
So let's do. You can pick any of them. The positives first, and then we end with the negative to see how best, because as I see your dancer is sooner di na boa ama mofran ye peye and amom want them to be well developed. So that's what we want to do.
I think first of all, let's look at the relationship between the mother and the father.
Yes. Okay.
Because whatever that they do at home is going to affect the child. If you have a mother loving the father, doesn't insult the dad, I think the kids are learning that.
Yes.
Also, there are times that maybe a kid will tell you that, or the parents will make the child know that I'm the one who is providing at home.
Okay.
And that is a very bad
okay, Ebiana Mameno yama abofana juna and said, or no na fie.
Yes.
Papa no so yama abofana is or no kwan fie nti mame de on contribute to anya hwe.
That is very bad.
Okay.
And then I also think that both the male and the female, they need to come together in order to train the child. You know, both of us may have differences.
All right.
In terms of maybe we want to, maybe the child say, okay, I want to go to the party, but I said, oh, no, you can't go. Okay. Mommy say, you can't go. Both of them should agree to say that, I don't want you to go. Okay. If they want to argue, they should argue in the absence of the child.
Okay.
So, I'm going bedroom honor. And I'm trashy or issues to agree.
Okay.
But mommy to me can say, go. And then daddy is saying, don't go. You see, you confuse the child. And every child knows freedom. Into the one who is providing the comfort.
That the same man call. Mama said me call. Today you say mama hona me kwa akoshe. Because mama na supporting me.
Good.
And I mean to me pay freedom.
So that becomes a problem.
The problem.
And I still talked about the banter, the conflict, the argument that goes on between the two. They argue in the absence of the children. They even go inside and shut it because the child should not see it. Okay. Including when they are intimate partner violence, when they are beating, they have to do it in the absence of the child. Okay. I'm saying that because the boy already, psychologically, we know that the boy hates the dad.
Yeah, sure.
So
competition
into that child, you know, if he's seeing the daddy beat the mom and he likes his mom a lot, you realize hatred never to a male. And when he grows up and he has a girl, and any guy gets closer, he's going to cause harm. Yes, because once the time not Osano, he can't beat his dad. He can't fight the dad. At that point, all those tension be building in the child. During the time that is in teens and all that, it's going to cause harm to anyone who tries to take his girl, and that becomes a problem. And then again, we are expecting mothers to, parents to spend time with children. Time, you know, quality time. Quality time. Quality time. No.
It can be short, but quality
time. And then something interesting.
Okay.
And I say every parent should give children the opportunity to express themselves emotionally.
All right.
Children have to express themselves. How do you feel?
No.
You see, when the child is saying that, I don't like it, let's find out why he doesn't like it. So what you know, for school honum say obi but he doesn't know that one it was not even quality, and then this one is so all what you need is a engagement. Let's talk about it. And one other thing I know is that parents need, when you are talking to your child, you need to go down, you need to sit down. Okay. You say, I want to use this demonstration. When you stand before a child, you dominate the child.
Already, no, papa,
so if you have a stubborn child, you say yes. Yes, yes.
And so
he's not going to have a conversation with you.
Okay.
That is why you see people squatting or sitting down.
Sits with the child. No banner level. So it's more like you've come to the person's level. And
sometimes it will marvel you if a child says, "I'll not go to church today." Why is that you don't want to go to church?
Yes.
Everybody is going to come to say how they are praying. Let's go to church.
Now wait, I say uncle sorry. Say was say.
So in a nice way, we want to find out why.
I didn't know uncle sorry.
Maybe he has a reason. Okay, in some situations, they will say that, okay, you are my wife, you go with the other kids. We will sit here. When you decide to go, then what do you want to go?
Okay, when you are
that time alone, as you are sitting closer, you begin to walk with him. Along do whatever. By the time you realize you are going to the church.
Sorry,
yes. So it's just a moment. Unfortunately, we miss that a lot. Exactly. And I want to talk about how we also resolve sibling rivalry.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of conflict. Yes.
And also to me, they have a brem of
yes, it's very, very important because you see, if you don't resolve it, imagine you have two kids. One is 5, one is 3, and then the 3 goes to pick the 5-year-old's toy.
Okay.
Even though the 5-year-old is not using the toy, he gets there and then pick it from him, and then the other one is crying. The question is that parents normally say that, is it for you? But what we are doing is that we are trying to tell this one that what belongs to you belongs to you.
Yours.
What doesn't belong to you, you don't need to take it. But the lesson, that's not the lesson.
No. Say,
yes. When you do that, the older one will always have an opportunity to dominate the younger person.
Yeah.
So you don't do that. What you want to introduce is that you want them to have a warm relationship.
Okay.
So you need to tell the older one that he's your brother, why don't you share? This one, why didn't you ask him before you pick it? So this is what I want the two of you to do.
Okay.
It is not for you, which you know. Yes. Okay. So I want you to ask him. So take it back. I want you to ask him, and then you take it and then give it to him. You have established that.
Okay.
If we don't do that, one dominates the other, and then it will continue.
Okay.
Okay. So how we resolve the conflict within among siblings is very, very important. So we need to look at
that one.
All those. And then I'll also talk about the punishment.
Okay. And James, let me just announce the phone lines so that we come to the punishment. Over to me after WhatsApp line also. You bet to me up. We are one kakra bi but ye makwan who say nkofo bi epese omo efre wetimi afre wetimi also you see lines na ye dey program no 0559 374321 0559374321 and as 0241 718702 0241 718702 so wo assembly say bi obetumi di aba so what messages so I said that me can wait to me their WhatsApp lines and so about it's Uncle James the punishment.
Yes, even before the punishment I want to introduce this. I read on a certain literature which says that there are 2 words that damage the self-esteem of kids.
In some form you know etimi say abofra no said the otie no.
The first one is that when the mother says that you are a mistake.
Hey, we am from so or 40 me catch up of say we am from so.
Yeah, you are a mistake and you came my way. You are a troublesome child.
Okay.
And the second one is that I don't love you.
Me no or 40 me be no catch up say me no.
And do you know how that comes about? When imagine that a mother leaves a dad with this particular kid and then travels, and out of that pain he displaces that anger on that innocent child. I think there was an African movie like that. It's won the best award about 3 years ago. Where the father transmitted the anger he has for the wife to the child.
And I want to mean bibia anti oba no to odi ebufuo no to the child.
And he even married, the child was 12 years. He even married the child to
abofra no if you do me no ma abofra no koware go to finish so.
Yes, he should go. And the child complained that I think after 2 weeks they are still in the neighborhood, so he came home and said that, Dad, he rapes me every time. And the father said, I don't care about it. Go. So at that particular point, that should tell, I mean, what will make a man not think about the welfare of his own daughter is because of the hatred he has got for his wife who left, and that may be in divorce and all that. Yes. So these words damage the ego of
say abofrano. So not being cry. So you nipa cry.
Yeah.
And some can even get into depressive tendencies. Waiting for
suicide later.
Yeah.
Yes. So these are, and then the punishment. I think for punishment, we are being scolded, we are being beaten. But you see, they are cruel punishment. They are harsh punishment.
Okay.
I've witnessed someone who carries blocks.
Blocks.
Block, and then the brother sat down
to watch,
having the cane, and then he raises one of his leg and standing on the other leg. If it brings
with the block,
yes,
and one leg.
If it brings it down.
Hey.
And that was a very harsh.
That's one so
punishment.
Yeah.
Children are also locked in dark places. A child had panic disorder. We treated a child. She complained. I mean, she's 17 years old, but she still have this panic attack. When she was young, the punishment here said, "Omoni share cupboard, a dark cupboard."
Cupboard is
when he was very young.
Yes.
So that was his.
All the
time. So there's I mean, anything can happen to them. So they are cruel punishments. And then look at someone who is denied of food. Sometimes parents punish children and say that you are not going to eat. Yes, people do that. They punish kids with that.
Wow.
And it's against human rights. Yes, I really have to say that it's against human rights. But these are some of the things that.
And so when these things happen, then that you've gone into the negatives. Yeah, you've dealt with the negatives. So for what they can
negative ones in a bit might say comparison. Yeah, the credit to
one shall so messy. And no defense. Now you go now. I say individual differences.
And also a problem. Near negative attitude.
Yeah.
And I mean, because James I can because the greatest gift that you can give to your children as a mother is to respect your husband.
Oh, okay.
And the greatest gift as a father to give to
respect your wife.
Yeah, is to love
your wife. Okay.
Because I see what's you know kwa.
Yeah.
Inti mumu relationship nye mo ndomo ho mo mbu mo ho mo kasa basa kire mo a enkurani na ehuru amane
yeah
be affect o medication
almost be
training yeah o training ni nyina be affect o mo
yeah
nti e basa na me bia kura no de papa ne mama ye no ana me ye bi which is bad de mo ye no so nya o so be sua bi nti comparison ne ana fe so na o ka se punishment. Once punishment no your society dey say you free training but me I don't believe that.
So discipline. Yes, punishing the person but discipline.
Yeah, who discipline say punishment. You na beginning no na make no. Enti parent dey what it akura the best thing is say manu hu dey oye no susanso. The we say na beba. Mani hunu and then entrance no mon kasa kasa ni here me na me kira dey say we bone a I will send you to the office. I will tell you say we now yeah yes o yeah o say there be nse sunsun so say na dey ebeba o say an nti o fata say me twa aba mi no o ja to ane no me twa no
because aba mi na ya adwuma
yeah no adamase
so wa na hunu say do yeah na nye
the next time o ye bi
onye
but onu say o discipline emra o don nti na o ye den discipline
ena ade aye me den say o busa no de wo ye enye eti me bo wa ba right or sometimes if you are scolding or you are spanking or you are beating you don't even have time to let the child know say de why you we nti na me you say
good
because that is what we want to correct the child
good and then the focus, as he said, the focus is that I'm punishing you for what you've done, not because I don't love you.
Exactly.
So I think that distinction
should come. Should always come.
Anna, what do business be?
You show love for others than the others.
Even though a bee or her is suban, but O'Donnell more now, Obitumasa,
a Honda. It's one yet.
hadwene but there's one kra na odo no mo no otimi sisa
exactly
but ujano na focus no others no so e ba sa na funso kese ye pa e ba timi affect abofra no do no so ye check
ni pa
na minim se be ko ho a se tam na so
ya fabra
na me pese hu se on say the reason why enkura ma no omo attach to fathers
yeah Oedipus complex
yeah what's a model na ye kan akura o baby a natural we so be ware be ma no ko ware oba na be ma no be ware no o pese onya qualities bi e papa firi papa ho no odi hwe odi ye standard
se be ma me ware no we na me
di be bia no o hwe oba na wa attach to ne o papa more more ana o maame nso be so osua bibi firi o maame ho se me kwa wade a de mama any daddy the mama ye daddy no na mpese me nti what they search for a husband no what they see on for the husband yeah me wo hwe maame na wo hwe papa nti naturally nyame na ye ne sa because onyame ehunu se ye den akura bo akura kutu akura bi onya 6 years na o ka tiro maame se mama nti sofo be koto wa ho kopem se me ware a go be so na ehira ma ware so na say
wo sofo hirehira ware no so a
akrafo yes e dey no hu sa wade o na tell awade dey
ma me ne papa asetina no
that's good nti omusua free ye hono nti wo modo a yes wo hwe ni yi na sa the problem
to me dey how apa ai pa model no ehia enti na wo say ye hwe enema yi bigidi se ye nkomo ne de ensem ne doso da bia no ya na ye pese yetimi e kan ye ma no se be ya e bebo am ye sua ne ma mi se wasua bebre na mre semu no sa ensem ya kan he na de ye bebo repeat mre semu ye besan de aba ama afoforo so asan etie bi e bia no bi ho a wantimi anko YouTube so be so be ni TV so mre be so ye besan abo se be ya obi because e was say sa asem ye bo ne dawuru emofra no ene awofo yen entetiye akwan ye fa so tete wo mu emofra no se de ebehu abofra bia se de ote abofra bia ho oden ene ne mre oye ne sinto ne ahwe e de aboa ma watumi anyini ye no ye papa Uncle James mental health practitioner wa boa yen ama sofo so sofo Isaac Ewua so acheche ama ye hunu se abofra bia ne se de ote eti ne se wo ye owofo a e wo se wo hwe ne wo ye ama abofra na hwe no osua ni ntino ebe danso wo na brabo mu na onyini nso a wabeye pani a esese oye eno ntino yese de ka se abrofra nse oni a oso se eniema eni esu ya dan na di wo fie na abofra no kwasua eno ntie nsua de pa na ansa na ebe kon me ba wonka yese nyame adom akwasi ada ebe Mother's Day etino Uncle James so ha so Ewua so wa ha. And so what are you telling the mothers? Because next week in year ha ti ebe se mo ka bibi ansa na yakọ na ansa no mbekasa no ye bo monka ye say ye phone lines no and na WhatsApp me titu ye de ato ho bo modi an say o asem bi apese wo ka kire owufuo bi a watetew say de ye kan bi a na nye ono ana wo mother oba bi a owo abrabo mo wabo mo etimi abedu empempe so aduru ya wo betimi send a voice note wo betimi the message bi aba emre no so a ye bebo bi na phone lines no wantimi ama so ye bebo ama obi ate ama nipa ko no so ate say o bo na ba so wo EZRA TV enu nti bomodi an say o be fa lines na ye 0202633479 and say 055927592751 0559592751 fa o message ne fa so e o maame maame bi oba wa bra bom wa hwe wo aboa o mo timi abe yese de wotie bomodi an ne fa message ne fa so na ye nkan eti no before you leave message to our mothers. We are starting the Mother's Day now. Until the Kabibi Sebeya, as we move on, this whole week is for the mothers, and then we'll be celebrating them.
The medical can say, "My mothers, happy Mother's Day." Title my wife.
My
wife, my happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
And I'm mammy or
more
Mother's Day. My wife, Mrs. Janet Ewua. And I'm Mamma so Francisca Ewua.
Okay.
Yamishra Mupa. My boy, Oma mu nyini nche.
Amen.
Na mu de nyame enso de ye.
Sanity.
Na mani ntimi nje because the my year no duma my year na esusaso.
Eda ho se de yesua na yi.
Nti nyame hira mu na afutu amede mades. Anasa obi a ofe na obeye mada. Potential mada.
Yeah.
Adwuma.
Adwuma
E dimpa so obeye parent. Or parenting.
Yeah.
Nti de meka nya ni se fa nyame ka ho.
All right.
Nyame tumi bibia ye.
Amen.
Se wonko na wo ye senga mada. Bo modin na ye.
Je wo ye.
Ni ye.
Sa.
Nyame boboa na ye. Na men ye se wo ye e de again say ama be ma no ani ewu but wo ye ama obofra no abeye useful for society no. Abasa na maybe awanije wo so obapa e de anije bre neja na bo ba kwase ama ne reho ya nti ye ka nyina ne se bo modin na yire ho atitu ma na onyame so ebetonso
ye da se pa so ye da se Uncle James.
Okay, so happy Mother's Day to all mothers, especially my sweetheart.
Wow.
Then to my mother.
Okay.
And my sisters.
No names mentioned.
To my sisters, my beautiful sisters at home. I'll say hi. Happy Mother's Day to all.
Hi.
I think they gave birth just last month, both of them. So
who are the both?
My two sisters.
Wow.
So happy Mother's Day to all of you.
No, you didn't mention any name.
Oh, Lovia. And then Lovia and Edna.
Edna,
wow. So I say that happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. So they are mothers, fresh mothers. All right.
And my message to them is that children are a gift from God.
Great.
And so when a gift comes to you, find the best way of keeping it, expanding it, and let it function as God has purpose. So this is my message to them.
And on that message to them, I'm also using it. Say, emofraya chedie. It is a rather the emofraya chain. Say any awomu. Say obi na awomu na yetiti womu. Say the yesuano. Ye hunu say ye amana share rather the animunyam. Na womu so abeye emfasode ama. Baby a yetie ebusua ene omaye ewom ene ewiase nyina. Esan say me gidi say obi wo ho a enye ne maame ana ne papa na tete no ebi obi wo na tete ne so ba be ye fasode kese ama oman ama ewiase enu ntini ye momodi anse mofra ne se do mutie bia e ya kyade awade de o ma kyeye enu nti ye nhwe omu yi ti wo ye owofo a eniema a wo ne wukunu ye wo fie esu a wo dan ne die e wo fie no e wo nsunsanso wo mofra no so ye nkan hu saa na ye mo ase de e be ye bia e be boa ma mofra ne ye die SCP esita enu ntini ne Osonfo maame di graft ena me di dwumadi ho tia me se de da meka no WOYIEDIE ASETENA ya base ye beboa ama ya pomoden ya wariye ye ma enyini mu ye da asetena mu bibia be siti esita na yetimi agini akonkan na aboa ama dwumadie ene ne ye wiase bia no aye kama na hye rade de animonyam ye da wona so ya sene ase ye papa John Wesley Stephen Kofi Amponsa prophets our that house of EZRA worldwide ministries ano papa eradin sha opa said the da wo hye nkran na oboa yen ebo ya baba sebe ya yen so betimi abetena se na ye de dwumade abre afoforo eradin sha sa na ye chia mama anji niema no happy Mother's Day in advance mama anji eradin sha opa ene me maame Christiano Usua soja woman eradin sha eradin nya okese me oba akro na so wa mama me ahode pa memre adwuma ye ho erade shell menim say e won tetie mu na erade enam so ama metumi abedru sei ena me maame Mrs Konadu tese awofo no bebre maame ba ko na wo me maame nom doso eti erade shell mu nyina happy Mother's Day in advance yeda mo amu so mo hwe ye nyina ase ene mo amutie yen yenim say na wotwe se ne ebehia ebeye sorom ko kai say wo be fa WhatsApp line no na owofo bi ana maami bi aye bibi sonko abrabo ma watimi aka na yetumi adan na di ama wiase nyina nso so ahu na wahye saa nipa ko ni nkwan na afoforo so esua yeda ye cameraman as Ben na Ephraim ye producer David omu nyina wa ha ewade hia mu nyina mo dan da afidie no ama bibia ye kama na wotwe se na ye behia WOYIEDIE ASETENA jemeso aware paka ho WOYIEDIE ASETENA jemeso emofra ne ka ho ewade hia bye bye